One of the stories about Apollo is that they lost all the tapes which had the original film on it. It's interesting that one of the stories about Apollo is that they lost all the tapes which had the original film on it.
Which are now for sale. Which are now for sale.
Exactly. And they've been discovered in the old McDonald's warehouse.
Right beside Menlo.
Yes.
Robert and I were looking that up.
That's an incredible discovery. It's right by Menlo Park.
Isn't that something, how that has been staring us right in the face all these years? And then all of a sudden, one shot comes out and, hey, wait a minute, I know that blimp hangar. That's Menlo Park. So I looked up San Francisco and I looked around the area. Like, wait a minute, there, it's right there. And it's been staring us in the face the whole time.
Yep. McDonald's is right beside the hangar.
Right beside it.
Yeah, he's got a picture of it. That's where they must have shot all the orbital stuff.
When they looked at those films, I have a picture of one fellow holding the film up to the light. And guess what? They're all orbital shots. Amazing.
So they must have used that hangar.
It's known as Hangar 1. It's an old airship hangar. It's one of the biggest buildings in America, if not the world. It's huge. It has been used as a film studio. I believe that's where the film of Apollo 13 was partly shot there. Because it enables control of the environment, the use of large light setups to imitate the sun. It's interesting that one of the stories about Apollo is that they lost all the tapes which had the original film on it.
Which are now for sale.
Exactly. And they've been discovered in the old McDonald's warehouse.
When they looked at those films, I have a picture of one fellow holding the film up to the light. And guess what? They're all orbital shots. Amazing.
Incoming photographic information from the orbiter is fed into this equipment where electronic wizardry converts the electronic signal to a pinpoint of light of varying intensity. The tiny beam sweeps back and forth, exposing a moving strip of 35 millimeter film. When processed, the resulting negative shows what the orbiter's camera saw. At the receiving station, technicians will process and study samples of the exposed negative to ensure that signals are coming back properly and that the orbiter's camera is correctly set. Most of the 18 miles of film will be sent to a reassembly facility where the strips will be developed and arranged into large negatives. Prints of these negatives will form the basis for lunar maps.
And guess what? They're all orbital shots. Amazing.
Although direct communication with the lunar orbiter is via Goldstone, or Australia, or Spain, the mission is directed from the Space Flight Operations Facility in Pasadena.
And my only question is considering the fact that McDonald's is such a successful corporation, why would it be closed out? That's my only question. Unless somebody actually bought the property from them because they needed it.
This is interesting because I had a look on Google as to when they found those tapes, and it was 2009. So we had to look at some of the interior of this restaurant, McDonald's restaurant. You do know the very first thing they do when they close a restaurant down like that, they take the stainless steel, they take the fryers, they take the cooktops, all of the appliances are gone out of there, and they're moved to another location. Well, all of that stuff is still there. Why is it all still there if they're not going to ever use it again?
Yeah, it just looks like they just shut the door.
Yeah.
Everything is there.
Maybe NASA took over their lease, paid them enough money so that they could store all these thousands of reels. They're big reels, they're not for little pen drives. These are huge, 14-inch, 2-inch wide reels of tape.
The thing is, they're not data tapes. They're all footage from the orbital perspective. That's all they are. They're all just film reels, 70 millimeter film reels. And 16 millimeter. So they have 16 millimeter film reels and 70 millimeter spools of these shots. That's crazy.
Incoming photographic information from the orbiter is fed into this equipment where electronic wizardry converts the electronic signal to a pinpoint of light of varying intensity. The tiny beam sweeps back and forth, exposing a moving strip of 35 millimeter film. When processed, the resulting negative shows what the orbiter's camera saw. At the receiving station, technicians will process and study samples of the exposed negative to ensure that signals are coming back properly and that the orbiter's camera is correctly set. Most of the 18 miles of film will be sent to a reassembly facility where the strips will be developed and arranged into large negatives.
So, come on, Dave McKeegan, let's see you have a look at this and tell us how wrong we are. When the evidence is staring you in the face that a McDonald's restaurant, literally next door to Hangar 1 in Menlo Park, is where all these tapes were stored. Is that wrong? Is that incorrect information? Come on, let's hear about it. You're so knowledgeable. Go and do some decent research.
Is that on Sotheby's? Is selling that? Well, what I found interesting there, they're putting them up. They're already claiming they'll catch about $2 million for these 3 tapes, right? There's a nice shot there.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And there's the inside. There's the tapes. All the equipment's still there.
See? Yeah. Look at them. Look at this reels and reels of tape.
Incredible. And it's just sitting in a disused McDonald's restaurant. Why is it there?
There's all the equipment, the stainless steel equipment, the fryers, the
everything's there.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Why don't they take these out? I used to do electrical in restaurants, so we used to move the equipment around. Very first thing that got taken out of there was all these appliances because they didn't want them destroyed, ruined, or wrecked in the renovation. Or if they're taking the restaurant down, selling it to somebody else, the first thing that goes. They'll get stolen too, by the way, very quickly.
Is there any equipment available today that can play those tapes?
Yeah, Tim has one.
That's the machine they took apart to clean and couldn't put it back together, so they threw it out.
Matter of fact, of course they do. He's got the machine set up right here. There, he's looking at it. There. There's one of the machines that plays the data tapes right here. So you can't say that they didn't have the machine to look at the data tapes. These are data tapes. The thing is, they're not data tapes. They're all footage from the orbital perspective.
Yeah, so can those still be played today on equipment?
Well, there's the machine playing them right now.
So that would have been in 2009.
Yeah.
And then they claimed that they only had one machine. They took it apart to clean it, and they couldn't get it to work, so they threw it out.
Robert.
That was the claim. And then when I was talking to Tim, he says, I got one of those machines.
Isn't it convenient that the things that are required to demonstrate NASA's fraud are conveniently disappeared? If Tim has got a machine that can play those tapes, let's go and get one of those reels and see if he can do it. See what's on it.
I think he offered.
He already offered.
There's something very wrong here. Much of what we have discovered over the last 25, 30 years has now come to fruition because we can now demonstrate that certain events which are considered to be historical information, i.e. there's no machine to play the tapes, is wrong. There are machines, and if Tim has got those machines and is willing to do it, all it needs is somebody to rock up to the McDonald's restaurant, get a few of those tapes, and get them over to Tim.
And if they've degraded in any way, shape, or form, he's got the equipment to bring it back.
There we go. Yeah. Now, if we can find those data tapes and play them, and if there's anything on it which demonstrates the fraud of NASA, it's game over. People like us who come along and challenge that with, to be fair, a degree of science backing, degree of science knowledge, they immediately assume that we are talking rubbish. We're not talking rubbish. You can check it out yourself. We don't say things we cannot back up. We don't say things that we cannot support, and we can demonstrate that they are correct.